Okay, in this video I'm going to address a question that I am frequently asked by anybody who's involved in buying or selling a property, and that is, how long is the process going to take? And if I give you an example, you'll see what I mean when I say it really depends. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that I'm acting for the purchaser of a property, okay? The first thing that's going to happen is the new client that I have, the purchaser, will let me know and will let the auctioneer know that I'm acting for him or her, and the auctioneer will then send a sales advice note to me and to the vendor solicitor. The vendor solicitor then must issue contracts and copy title documents to me to prove title. Now, if the other solicitor, the vendor solicitor, doesn't have the title documents, for example, or if there's any other cause of a delay in issuing the contracts, or if the other solicitor is a little bit tardy in drawing up the contracts, or if there's some outstanding issue to do with, for example, planning, or a certificate of compliance with planning, or perhaps a certificate of compliance or a certificate of exemption or discharge for NPPR tax, or something to do with LPT tax, or any number of things. The fact is that I am completely dependent on the other solicitor, the vendor solicitor, sending the contracts and title documents to me. So that is something that is completely outside my control, nothing I can do about. I have to wait for those contracts to come to me, to this office. It's like playing a football match or a tennis match. You need someone to play with, and so the other side must essentially kick the ball or puck the ball out, and I can then respond, but only then can I respond. I can't do anything about the title documents or the contracts which the vendor solicitor must draw up. Then, when the documents come in here to my office and I review them and I go through them, I'm going to raise some pre-contract inquiries. I must do that in order to protect my client's interest and to ensure that we get good title to the property and that there's no problems with title or planning or anything of that nature. So I'm going to raise queries. Then the ball goes back to the other side, to the vendor solicitor, and they may or may not be tardy and slow in responding. If they respond quickly, well and good, we're off to the races again. If they don't, if they're overwhelmed with work, or if they for some reason are unable or unwilling to answer my queries, then it's going to cause a delay. The next step after satisfactory replies, I get my client in to sign contracts and loan documents and so on. The mention of loan documents means that there is a lender involved, a bank involved. So, in order to complete the sale, we're going to need the bank to give us the money, the loan. However, the bank won't do so unless all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, which means that essentially everything that the bank requires prior to releasing the funds, the loan funds, must be in place. So again, that is something that's completely outside my control. That's something that's within the control of my client, or perhaps the person, the company that's providing the life insurance, who is organising the home insurance and so forth. So again, there's another point there, the third point, at which it's outside my control. There's nothing I can do. With the best will in the world, I can try to speed things up. But if I get onto the bank and say, look, we want to close this deal on Friday, please send me the money, they'll say the life insurance is outstanding, or your client didn't sign the direct debit mandate, or something of that nature. So I hope you see from this video that it's a two-step or a two-sided process, a two-party process. As I say, it's like playing some sport, some team sport, where one side must puck the ball out or kick the ball out or kick it off and get the thing started. And a solicitor acting for a vendor or a purchaser doesn't act in a vacuum. He or she is dependent on the other side, the other solicitor, providing the relevant documents and contracts and so forth. And he may well be, or she may well be, completely dependent, obviously, on their client, providing them with certain information. So that can lead to uncertainty. But by and large then, you're probably looking at a reasonable average of 8 weeks from start to finish. That is just an estimate, though. As I say, it will depend on both sets of solicitors working in a sort of a fairly timely manner, in a business-like, industrious sort of a way, and that nothing derails the process. And as I say, the fact of the bank being involved as well is another moving part that, you know, an individual solicitor doesn't have much control over. So it's very, very difficult to be absolutely certain or prescriptive as to how long the process starts. I hope, though, I have indicated to you where the breakdown or the slowdown might occur, and you get a better idea. I think 8 weeks probably is an average or general enough, 6 to 8 weeks, but again, it will depend. And just to give you one simple example before I wind up this video, let's say my client has bought a property and the other solicitor is now instructed by his client to draw up contracts. If the other solicitor doesn't have title documents, there's probably going to be 10 days or a fortnight between getting his client to sign the authority and getting the title deeds from the lender. And that's before he even starts the process of drawing up the contracts. Now, he may well have them in advance, but his client, the vendor, may not have understood that in order to speed the thing up from the word go, it would have been useful if he'd given his client, or his solicitor rather, instructions well in advance of putting the property on the market with the auctioneer to get the title documents out and get ready to go, so that when they do get a buyer, do get a punter for the property, they can issue contracts in a very timely fashion. Anyway, I hope you find this video useful. I hope it does answer the question as best I can. There's a lot of moving parts, and as I say, if you find the video useful, I'd appreciate if you gave it the thumbs up down below. Thanks a lot.